The flickering glow of the screen cast long shadows across my living room as I wrestled with a particularly thorny problem. It was a complex task, one I had confidently, perhaps even a little boastfully, assured myself I could solve easily. But hours melted away, lines of code tangled, and my initial optimism curdled into a tight knot of frustration. A whisper, insistent and unwelcome, began to echo in my mind. This shouldn't be so hard. I know this stuff. Someone else must have messed something up. That familiar sting of intellectual pride, wounded and lashing out, was a clear signal. In that moment, the very idea of humility felt like a defeat, a surrender of my perceived competence. Yet as the frustration peaked, a different thought began to emerge, gently pushing through the ego's clamor. What if the problem isn't out there? What if it's simply that I don't know everything there is to know about this particular challenge? This subtle shift from blaming external forces to acknowledging an internal limit is the very heart of what Stoicism teaches us about humility. It's not about self-belittling, it's about truth-seeing. For a Stoic, humility is not a weakness, nor is it about tearing oneself down. It's a profound strength, a clear-eyed assessment of reality. Imagine for a moment a master carpenter. They don't boast about their perfect cuts or flawless joints because they understand the inherent properties of the wood, the nuances of their tools, and the ever-present possibility of error. Their confidence comes not from denying limits, but from understanding them deeply. This is the Stoic way, recognizing our own boundaries, remaining open to learning, and carefully avoiding the seductive trap of superiority. Let's unpack this truth-seeing. The first pillar is acknowledging limits. We are, each of us, finite beings with limited knowledge, limited time, and limited control. When we resist this fundamental truth, we invite unnecessary suffering. Think about a time you tried to control something utterly beyond your grasp. Another person's opinion, the weather, the outcome of a complex situation where many variables were at play. The exhaustion, the resentment, the sheer futility of it all. A Stoic encountering such a situation would pause. They would look inward and ask, is this within my sphere of influence? If not, they would practice what Epictetus called the dichotomy of control, focusing only on what they can truly influence, their judgments, their reactions, their efforts. This isn't resigning oneself to fate, it's recognizing what is and operating effectively within those boundaries. It frees up immense mental and emotional energy that would otherwise be wasted on fruitless struggles. Accepting that you don't know everything or can't control everything is not a confession of inadequacy. It's an act of profound wisdom and inner peace. This leads us directly to the second aspect, remaining teachable. If we acknowledge our limits, it naturally follows that there is always more to learn. The moment we believe we know it all, we close ourselves off to growth. Consider the sage, the true student of life. They approach every interaction, every setback, every success with a quiet curiosity. They listen more than they speak, observing with an open mind. They understand that wisdom isn't a destination, but an ongoing journey. There's a story, perhaps apocryphal, of a renowned philosopher who, when asked by a young student, "Master, what is your greatest accomplishment?" simply replied, "Learning to say, I don't know." It's a powerful lesson. When we can genuinely utter those three words, we open a doorway to new understanding, new perspectives, and new solutions. We become sponges, absorbing wisdom from unexpected sources. A child's simple question, a stranger's casual remark, even a moment of quiet reflection during a walk. This intellectual humility isn't about doubting your intelligence, it's about valuing truth and growth above the comfort of assumed knowledge. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, Stoic humility helps us avoid the insidious trap of superiority. It's a common human failing to compare ourselves to others, to find fault, to elevate ourselves by diminishing those around us. The Stoics recognized this as a fundamental error in judgment. When we judge others harshly or assume our own understanding is superior, we create division and reinforce our own ego-driven illusions. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, repeatedly reminds himself to view others with understanding and compassion, recognizing that everyone is striving, everyone is flawed, and everyone is, in essence, part of the same human family. When we truly see others with all their complexities and struggles, it becomes impossible to genuinely feel superior. We see ourselves in them and them in us. This perspective fosters empathy, strengthens our connections, and liberates us from the constant, exhausting need to prove ourselves better than anyone else. It allows us to relate to others not from a pedestal, but from a shared ground of humanity. So, when we bring these elements together, acknowledging our limits, remaining teachable, and avoiding the trap of superiority, we begin to cultivate a profound inner strength. This isn't a passive humility that shrinks from challenges. Instead, it's an active, engaged humility that empowers us to face life with clarity, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to truth. It's the strength to fail gracefully, learn profoundly, and connect genuinely. It's the wisdom to know what we don't know and the courage to keep seeking understanding. In the end, Stoic humility isn't about diminishing yourself. It's about enlarging your capacity for wisdom, compassion, and true connection. It's about stripping away the false narratives of ego to see yourself, others, and the world not as you wish them to be, but as they truly are. It's a journey of self-awareness that leads to a more peaceful, more purposeful, and more deeply satisfying life. I invite you to consider where in your own life you might practice this truth-seeing. Where can you acknowledge a limit, open yourself to a new lesson, or simply let go of a need to feel superior? Share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. And if this message resonated with you, consider subscribing for more insights on living a thoughtful, resilient life. Until next time, keep seeking the truth within.